I think it's very important that the African Union always keeps in touch with developments on the continent and doesn't allow issues to be taken up by external parties, because sometimes those external countries fuel conflict rather than help to resolve problems. And so the fact that now Africa is standing up, and I think in particular I must affirm Prime Minister Abe, because I think he is a person who is very committed to Africa solving its own problems. And I think it's a role that we established the African Union to play on the continent. So for me, we must do more for preventative diplomacy. We must avoid conflict on the continent, and we must ensure all over the continent we silence the guns, and it is Africans who must do that. The relations between Ethiopia and South Africa are excellent. We were very honored when the African Union decided that the peace talks between the federal government of Ethiopia and the TLPF would occur in South Africa. South Africa was really gratified that the African Union and the government, of course, felt that we could play a role in ensuring peace on our continent and in our sisterly country, Ethiopia. And we are so glad that my colleague, the Foreign Minister and Deputy Prime Minister of Ethiopia, provided a report to the summit and indicated that the processes of the peace agreement are on course, and all is being done by the various parties to ensure that there is a sustainable peace. That's all we want for our continent. It's a particular characteristic of Africans that we are able to talk to each other. And I think it's always a tragedy when arms and conflict become part of our continent. We have the tradition that we discuss matters, this is our culture, and that where there are problems, we sit down and discuss them and resolve them peacefully as nations. So for me, this peace process is a very important lesson and marker, not just for Africa, but for the entire globe, because we have a conflict in Russia and Ukraine. We've been saying there should be a negotiation, that diplomacy must be allowed to play a role, because when people talk, the guns are silenced. And when people are not talking, then you have more arms, you have more death, you have more destruction. So the lesson from Ethiopia is that let us sit around a table. Let's put our issues on the table. Let us resolve them as brothers and sisters and create conditions of peace in the continent.